Hello everyone, welcome back to Starflight 2, Trade Routes of the Cloud Nebula. And it's time to do some background reading. So the manual starts off with Ultimatum Number 4 to all Earthlings from the Master Species of the Universe, the Spemin. We hereby and forthwith give notice that such that upon reading this notice, all that have read this notice shall be aware of the contents therein, namely, those salient and relevant points that pertain to the reader, notwithstanding any other points as well, which might also be included in the notice, those points being heretofore undisclosed by virtue of the notice not having been presented until such time as it is presented. To wit, 1. The planet Earth will shortly be attacked and completely and totally obliterated, causing subsequent termination of those inhabitants thereon by the unstoppable force of the mighty and all-powerful secret Spemin death fleet. 2. This destruction, which shall occur at some unspecified time in the near future, shall be done with considerable malice and forethought, and shall involve the complete and total extermination of all life on the planet, not to mention the annihilation of anything else which should be deemed by the destructees to be of value in any sense. 3. Due to the kind, forgiving, godlike, and in other respects admirable qualities of the Supreme Spemin Masters, it has been decided to allow the Earthlings, notwithstanding their disgusting, slimeless nature, a final opportunity to grovel before us. Should this be done immediately and with complete and utter sincerity, the divine Spemin Deathlords will consider bestowing upon the lowly Earthling sub-creatures the great honor of serving us, the Spemin, as slaves and servants. 4. Whereas this ultimatum is currently the 4th ultimatum issued, 3 others having been issued in the past, all other ultimatums should be considered as warnings, and this ultimatum should be considered the final and real one. Any persons who read this, barring those individuals who issued it, may, if they deem it appropriate, take it upon themselves to surrender at any time between the time at which they read it and the time at which they are destroyed. Sincerely, the High Imperial Death Master Overlords of the Spemin Death Fleet. Spemin? What are you guys doing? Jeez. Alright, Orientation Briefing, Interstell, date 22-10-4638. Chaired by Fexapotex, Director of Starport, Outpost 1. Fexapotex was mentioned in the previous game. Greetings and welcome to the frontiers of space. Thank you all, veterans and raw recruits alike, for volunteering for a particularly hazardous and probably fatal mission. We're especially thankful to have with us again those heroic individuals who just 19 years ago saved Arth and each of our respective posterior ends from an untimely annihilation. In case no one mentioned it before, we're all very happy not to be dead, and we have you to thank for it. I know, I'm oftentimes happy to not be dead too. Oftentimes. You probably want to know why we're offering huge rewards that could include, but aren't limited to, cash prizes, stock options, and piles of stuffed animals. Ooh, stuffies! Well, we wouldn't have offered, except that we're in big trouble. In case your mission briefing didn't give you an idea of how big is, we'll tell you now. Discovery of Noah 2. First, let's look at the events that led to our current crisis. About 35 years ago, archaeologists on the planet Earth stumbled upon an ancient underground network that had once been inhabited by a group made up of humans, Velox, Eloan, and Thrin. In short, all the folks we find on Earth today. A spaceship, the Noah 2, was also found among the ruins. Now, we'd all grown up with epic tales of the Great Earth Empire and the Noah 2 colony ship sent to Earth, but few believed they were more than just children's stories. Earth had always been a mythical world. The fall of Earth was just another adventure story. But the discovery of the underground fortification and the actual Noah 2 spaceship forced people to look at the old tales as actual historical accounts. Records found among the ruins revealed that the humans on Earth once controlled a huge interstellar empire that was closely allied with the neighboring Eloan, Thrin, and Velox. For centuries, Earth dominated the region, until one day hordes of aggressive alien species arrived seeking new worlds to settle. The aliens, Gazertoid, Ulek, and Spemin, were being driven from their home regions by a wave of flaring stars that obliterated everything in its path. Sharing wasn't a popular concept among these aliens. They preferred invasion, so Earth formed a coalition with her allies to defend the Empire. The coalition successfully repelled the first onslaught, but as fleet upon fleet of enemy warships arrived, the Empire's defenses quickly buckled. Just before Earth's final destruction, Project Noah was launched as a last-ditch effort to save a remnant of the Empire. The last of Earth's meager resources were mustered, and a dozen or so colony ships were scattered in all directions. The second colony ship, Noah 2, landed on Earth and planted the seeds of our culture. Unfortunately, a planet-wide catastrophe caused the descendants of the colonists to lose the knowledge and technology of their forefathers. Arth's civilization fell into an age of darkness and chaos. When the Noah 2 ruins were uncovered, scientists immediately began reconstructing the faster-than-light superphotonic technology of our forefathers. We couldn't have got it at a more critical time. The same flaring star thing that had driven the alien hordes toward Earth centuries before was just then reaching Earth. Without superphotonic technology and the endurium fuel found in the ruins, we never could have pushed beyond our system and unraveled the mystery of the flaring stars. And without unraveling the mystery, we'd all be one big Arth flambe. Ban on endurium. None of us who lived through those days will ever get over the shock of what we learned on the Crystal Planet. The secret of endurium and how it was responsible for the wave of flaring stars. Once the Crystal Planet was safely destroyed, the High Council of Arth banned the use of endurium as fuel and strongly suggested that other species do the same. Of course, other species don't really care what the High Council says, and with no fuel for our warships, our ban amounts to little more than finger-shaking. That isn't to say that the call for a ban on endurium has been universally ignored. Naturally, the more noble species understand the moral issues involved and have given up, or at least curtailed, their use of the substance. Aggressive species, however, have not only ignored the ban, but are using it as an opportunity to take advantage of our vulnerable state. Spemin aggression. This brings us to our current situation. As if fuel weren't a big enough problem, the loathsome Spemin recently acquired some powerful new technology seemingly out of nowhere. Armed with new weapons and an unlimited fuel source, the Spemin, once just a dangerous nuisance, are now a deadly threat. Last week they issued Arth another ultimatum demanding that we willingly enslave ourselves to them or be destroyed. At this point in time, our skeletal defenses couldn't withstand a concerted attack by their fleet. Only natural Spemin cowardice has kept them from striking. As we all know, spineless applies to Spemin in more ways than one. But we can't count on their fear forever. And I think each of us would agree that kneeling before an arrogant mass of slime isn't a viable option. But hope is not lost. About 2 years ago, we learned the location of the continuum flux that leads to the region of space where this new fuel technology originates. Knowing that the Spemin like to boast, a commander of an Arth installation cleverly tricked a Spemin by saying, "I suppose you know that we have the same technology as you. We got it by going through that flux at, where was it again?" Since then, we've built this outpost and learned a few facts about the region. It's inhabited by approximately 20 to 30 species, 6 or 7 of which possess spacefaring technologies. Several of the sentient species in the region are hostile, which has made collecting information difficult. Mission objectives. This is where you come in. As outlined in your mission briefing, your objectives are to find the source of the fuel substance known as shinium, and acquire the technology the Spemin possess. I think you know how vital it is that we accomplish these objectives. It's the only way we're going to avoid serving mucus cocktails to the Spemin overlords. Are there any questions? Navigator Kirk Pektok. Kirk Pektok, can you elaborate on the Spemin's new technology? What do they have that we don't? Aside from having all the fuel they want, the Spemin have new shields that function in nebulas. We've given their shields a Class 6 rating. Their ships are also armed with plasma bolts, a nasty weapon they obtained from the Ulek. As you may or may not know, you can outrun plasma bolts when maneuvering, but you can't dodge them like missiles. Finally, the Spemin have a phasing artifact that lets them make short jumps in combat. This phasing capability makes them difficult to hit with missiles and almost impossible to escape. Another question. Yes, Captain Briggs. If this new region of space is as hostile as you claim, we'll need to upgrade our ships and train our crews in order to meet any threats. That takes cash. Trade has been suggested as a good means of acquiring capital. Can you suggest any markets for the goods we acquire? Each of you possess a copy of a star map, which Interstel bought from the best merchants in the region, the Humna Humna. All star systems known to be inhabited by sentient beings are marked with a small cross. When you find a planet inhabited by sentients, your science officer can access the trade buoy information to find out whether they'll trade goods or not. We've provided you with some standard trade goods to get you started. We suggest you try to sell them to the Tandalu, the species closest to Starport. As you'll soon discover, they're agreeable aliens, though a little long-winded on theological matters. We have time for one more question. Captain Ariel. The Humna Humna seem to have done much for us. Can we consider them allies? The Humna Humna are driven purely by the profit motive. However, they recognize that goodwill and mutual respect are indispensable to profitable trade relations. Show them your good intentions and you'll find their friendship very beneficial. That includes keeping your weapons disarmed around their trade ships. They're sensitive about that. Well, that's about it. We sincerely hope you fare better than our last group of explorers. Good night, good luck, and don't forget, the Spemin are Finks. Yeah. Thanks, Spemin. Alright, technical reference manual. We got lots and lots of information here that I'm not going to go over in too much detail. But, Part 1, General Information. Objectives. As discussed in your briefings, your two primary objectives are to find the origin of Shinium fuel and obtain new Spemin technology. To accomplish these objectives, you need to gather information and generate revenue. Information is crucial to the success of this mission. Obviously, the local species know more about this new region than we do. Communicating with aliens is your best means of gathering information concerning trade, the past, alien species, and the current political climate. Train your communications officer early on so you can quickly take advantage of the goodwill and curiosity of friendly species. Communications are now automatically recorded and can be played back to review important information. See 3.2.5 Communications. You'll need capital to build an optimal ship and crew. Interstellar offers only a minimal amount of capital at the outset, which is about twice what we had in the previous game. You'll have to build more capital to fund your explorations. The economy of the region is based on the Shinium fuel substance and is measured in Shinium pennies. You can earn Shinium pennies in a number of ways. The following is a partial list. 1.1.1 Trade with aliens. The region is densely populated and supports a thriving mercantile economy. Trading is your most effective means of earning money. Goods, life forms, and minerals can be obtained on planets and often sold on others for profits. You can earn money while exploring the region. At this time, Interstellar doesn't have adequate information to suggest profitable trade routes or markets for goods. Once again, your best resource for trade information is by communicating with the spacefaring aliens. See 5.3 Trading for more information. Note, due to limited supplies, Interstellar cannot sell you Shinium. Alien trading posts are your only sources of fuel. 1.1.2 Sale of Lifeforms. Lifeforms can be captured and sold to interested aliens at trading posts. Because space travel is so prevalent in this region, many lifeforms have been transplanted from their natural habitats to worlds light years apart. Consequently, you'll find many lifeforms on more than one planet. For more on capturing lifeforms, see 5.0 Planetside. 1.1.3 Recommending colony worlds. The captain can recommend planets that appear suitable for Earth colonization. This is no small responsibility. The lives of thousands of colonists may depend upon your recommendation. When you return to Starport, you'll receive an evaluation for your recommendation. You'll get bonuses for planets that are optimal for colonization. However, unsuitable planets will earn you fines. See 4.3 Planet Recommendations for more on recommending colony worlds. 1.1.4 Sale of Minerals. Mineral deposits can be found on planets at high elevations. Aliens will often barter for minerals, though which minerals they're willing to buy varies from day to day. The values of minerals can be found in the mineral value chart. See 5.3.7 Minerals. You may notice that planets in this region have a comparatively low mineral content. The high population has apparently put a considerable strain on the mineral resources of the region. Interstellar suggests that you use mining only as a supplemental form of income. Now, so basically, selling minerals is worthless in this game. You may occasionally have some minerals that are worth selling, but for the most part, you will not. And it is almost never worth gathering it when you see it on a world map. Maybe, like, the only times it's worth it is if you know a local alien will buy it, or it's just a really, really valuable one in comparison, which they aren't that valuable in comparison to a lot of other things you can do. Or it's a repair mineral and you want more repair minerals for your ship. 1.2 Species. You can now choose from the following, or you can choose from the following species of Earth when composing your crew. Each category includes a descriptive synopsis and some statistics. These statistics include learning rate, represents the number of skill points a member of that species acquires from a single training session. Durability represents the amount of physical damage a member of that species can sustain. The higher the number, the more durable the species is. Initial skill level, the inherent ability of a species in a skill. Maximum skill level, the maximum level a member of that species can attain in a skill. So, humans are a bipedal omnivorous species with smooth skin and a characteristic mat of scalp hair. They are 1.5 to 2 meters in height and are light beige to dark brown in color. Humans have an internal skeleton and 2 small narrow-set eyes which allow binocular vision. This species is particularly aggressive and tenacious. While moderately weak physically, humans are highly flexible mentally and particularly adept at theoretical modeling and in applications of logic and inference. Although there is a degree of sexual dimorphism in the species, the differences are insignificant. So as we'd already seen, durability 6, learning rate 9 for humans. Skill, science 50 to 250, and navigation, engineering, communication, and medicine are 30 to 200 each. Velox. The Velox are insect-like creatures with 2 legs, 2 arms, and 2 intermediate appendages which can serve as either. They have a hard red chitinous exoskeleton, 2 large compound eyes, and 2 antennae which serve as olfactory senses. When in an upright position, a Velox is approximately 1.5 meters in height, if male, and 2.5 meters if female. Velox culture is akin to hive culture, and individuals are not known to be particularly intelligent. They are, however, exceptionally strong and durable, and have excellent hand-eye coordination. These traits, in conjunction with well-developed spatial sense, make them well-suited for engineering and technical tasks. Durability 8 and learning rate 6. Science 30 to 200. Navigation and engineering 50 to 250, and communication and medicine 0 to 100. Thrin. The Thrin are a bipedal carnivorous reptilian species. Although graceful with long necks and tails, they are very muscular and covered with tough protective scales. They range in color from green to gray and are approximately 1.5 meters in height. Like humans, they have an internal skeleton and 2 forward-set eyes. The Thrin have a fair overall learning rate and a fair constitution. The Thrin are cultured and diplomatic, but are said to be devious and cunning. They excel in situations involving protocol and diplomacy. Durability 6, learning rate 7. So science, navigation, and engineering 30 to 200, communication 50 to 250, and medicine 0 to 100. Eloan. The Eloan are a bipedal photosynthetic species 1 to 2 meters in height. They are willowy and delicate with numerous prehensile vines. Their color may range from light yellow-green to deep green-blue. They have 2 large compound eyes, which are characteristically a deep reddish-brown. They are highly empathetic and particularly creative thinkers. Although weak physically, they excel in interpersonal skills. Their excellent learning rate allows them to learn any skills relatively quickly. Durability 2 and learning rate 10. They have a navigation and engineering of 10 to 150. Science and engineering, I'm sorry. They have a navigation of 30 to 200, and communication and medicine 50 to 250. Android. Androids are sophisticated automatons and, not strictly speaking, a species. Constructed of metals and plastics, they're more durable than most organic species. They can't benefit from training, however, because their programming is hardwired, and their skills are set at a fixed level. Of the numerous models available, Interstel now uses the popular multitask ARF-29 series, best suited for operations requiring straightforward computation and linear analysis. Durability 10, learning rate 0. So they have initial value of 50 science, 150 navigation, 100 engineering, 0 communication, and 20 medicine. Then there's a list of their skills. And then occasionally in the manual we'll have the star reports. You always have rookies when you start out. You might get a couple well-trained officers, but the rest will be greener than an Eloan's bottom. So you have to make choices. You think, if I train my science officer so I can do more than count planets, I may end up with a navigator who thinks downspin is a cycle in his washing machine. I've commanded many a fine crew in my day and lost every one of them except this one. I think I've hit on a solution that works. First, train your navigator as much as you can so you don't get lost. I've been from one end of the galaxy to the other, but never intentionally. An expert's navigator put an end to that. Next, work on getting your communications and science officers up to speed. Captain Nix Killjoy, ISS Lusitania. So then we have an overview of the starport, but we will skip that. We don't really need to talk about that. The ship configuration, there is some things to discuss there. So we have some new options in this game. Blastopods. Blastopods are powerful directed torpedoes capable of penetrating most armor and shielding classes. Blastopods fit into your ship's cargo pod bays. If all your cargo pod bays are full, you'll have to sell a cargo pod for each blastopod you buy. You can equip your ship with up to 2 blastopods. See the command summary card for details. Jump pods. Jump pods are single-use artifacts capable of transporting your entire ship and crew any distance in the region. Each jump pod uses 15 cubic meters of shinium no matter how far you travel. Interstel provides you with 1 jump pod at the beginning of your mission. You can equip your ship with up to 4 jump pods. See 4.1.2 jump pods for details on jump pods. So the blastopods are 50,000 per pod, and the jump pods are 20,000 per pod. We have 1, and maybe I should have sold that one, now that I think about it. Because I don't really need that, and that would have been, yeah, I think when I go back to Starport, I'm going to sell that jump pod, because we're going to be staying pretty local for now, and eventually money will be substantially less of an issue, so. But for now, we could more use the money. Let's see, and we have docking bay, and our view screen, and everything like that. Let's go to the sensors. Which, yeah, we don't need that we don't need to look at that information at the moment. Here's a good thing. The planet's gravitational force. Warning, a planet with a gravity of 8 Gs or higher will crush your hull if you attempt to land. So, you do not want to land at a planet like that. Alright. Looking for other things that we have of interest. Jump pods were only recently discovered. Unfortunately, no one quite understands how they work. They often don't work with 100% accuracy. In fact, jump pods can send you far from your destination. The Humna Humna maintain that they're consistent to a point. It seems that the main variable is your proximity to large bodies exerting gravitational force, i.e. stars. I think what that means is certainly jumping into a cluster of stars is more accurate, and it might be more accurate if you start in a cluster of stars too, but I'm not positive about that. Alright, so don't care about that, but here we go on some more star reports. Thou mayest encounter many vessels in open space. I warn thee, when thy warning signal soundeth, remain in maneuver and put some distance between thy ship and the aliens. Should thy opponents be hostile, thou hast time to flee or prepare weapons. Shouldst thou catch wind of the Great White One, leave a note at Starport. Anonymous transmission from the ISS Pequod. What would an Eloan be hunting as a Great White One? I wonder. Alright, so, planet recommendations. Colony ships are sent to new worlds only on the basis of your recommendations. A single recommendation can represent a huge investment of lives and resources. If you recommend a planet as habitable and it turns out not to be, you'll incur heavy penalties. On the other hand, Interstellar gives substantial bonuses for those planets that prove optimal for colonization. Recommending a planet requires an assessment of a number of variables. I believe the reward is between 30,000 and 50,000. Let's see. A planet may be suitable except for one feature that makes it untenable as a colony world. Warning, planets already inhabited by sentients are considered unsuitable for colonization. The following guidelines can help you make the right recommendations. Temperature. Some portion of the planet must fall within an acceptable temperature range. The following table shows the range of temperatures. So we've got Arctic, subarctic, Arctic. Shouldn't it be Arctic and then subarctic? Whatever. Temperate, tropical, serene, and inferno. So the planet must have some temperate or tropical temperature range. Parts of a planet must fall within the highlighted range to be suitable for colonization. Gravity. The gravity of a planet must not be crushing, and it is preferable if it's lighter than very heavy. Gravity must be below 2 Gs for a planet to be suitable for colonization. 0.7 to 1.3 is optimal. Atmosphere. The planet must have an atmosphere, and the atmosphere must contain oxygen. Hydrosphere. There must be water on the planet. Atmospheric activity. Planets with violent or very violent atmospheric activity are unacceptable. The following chart can serve as a guide. So, none calm or moderate are acceptable, but violent and very violent are not. Weather conditions must be within the highlighted area to make a planet suitable for colonization. Alright, so then we have planet-side stuff and star reports. You'll find more life forms at the lower altitudes of a planet. The weather is typically calmer there, so you'll also be safer from storms. In the mountainous regions, you'll find more minerals, but atmospheric conditions are worse. It can be dangerous in the mountains. Last time I was there, the storms killed all my Eloan. Not pretty. Captain Xenopux Tex, ISS Orion. Alright, so we've got trading. Locating systems with markets. The first step is to locate a market where you can buy or sell goods. Your kit includes a copy of a map bought from the Humna Humna, the master traders of the region. Many systems on the map are marked with a small trade buoy symbol, a cross, indicating the presence of sentient species on a planet within the system. While not all species are willing to trade, finding systems with sentience is a good start. Trade buoys. The Humna Humna have placed trade buoys around planets with sentience. These buoys transmit trade data about the sentience on the planet. The Humna Humna have granted us, for a considerable fee, unlimited use of the buoys. Your science officer can access trade information by selecting the culture option when the ship is in orbit. You can also access trade information while on the planet's surface by selecting Describe from your terrain vehicle options. The following is a brief summary of the information you can learn from a trade buoy. Tech level. Societies with low technology levels won't buy or sell high-tech goods. For instance, Stone Age and Metal Age aliens wouldn't trade genetic materials, robots, or technological artifacts. Trading style. The trading style of the species tells you how much they like to barter. The Humna Humna, for example, love to barter. They mark up goods they're selling and make low initial offers when buying. You can talk them up or down. Other species don't like to barter as much. Still others won't barter at all. Note a species' trading style so you can get better prices from aliens who like to barter and keep from angering aliens that don't. Economy. Economies are depressed, level, or inflated. While prices and demand for items change daily, the overall economy of a planet doesn't. Generally speaking, you can buy standard trade goods at better prices on planets with depressed economies and sell them at better prices in inflated economies. Level economies are good for both buying or selling. Specialty trade goods are unaffected by the economy. You can always buy them at low prices and sell them at high prices. Population density. Planets with high populations have more alien settlements and more trading centers. A highly populated planet also has a more diversified economy. Traders there have more kinds of items for sale and are interested in buying a greater variety of goods. Cultural analysis. The cultural analysis is a brief description of the species. You should always know who you're dealing with. Will sell at Trading Center. The specialty trade goods that a species sells are listed here. Standard trade goods and minerals being offered vary from day to day, so they're not listed. Always record which specialty trade goods are sold on a planet, in case you find a market for them elsewhere. Will buy at trading centers. The specialty trade goods and life forms that a species buys are listed here. The standard trade goods and minerals being offered vary from day to day, so they're not listed. You should always record which specialty trade goods are bought on a planet, in case you get an opportunity to buy them elsewhere. Pay particular attention to any item with an asterisk next to it. The inhabitants of that planet are particularly interested in this item and will usually pay dearly for it. Trading occurs only in trade centers. They're located on any planet where aliens trade and are marked with a sign in the upper right corner of the icon. If you're not sure which icon is a trade center, select the icon's function in your terrain vehicle. To locate a trade center, land on a planet inhabited by a species that trades and wander until you find one. Densely populated planets will have more trading centers than planets with sparse populations. Alright, let's see, what else? So, most of this is pretty... You know, it's stuff that we'll get to by, like, playing through it. Star reports. If you find that a race really likes a specialty trade good, always keep a little of it on hand in case you do business with them again. Once I sold just a little livelong to the Humna Humna. It sure got me some better prices. Now I never leave home without it. It always makes them a little friendlier, though you still have to make sure you don't get them mad afterwards. When I don't have a specialty trade good to sell them, I pick up a life form and sell that to them cheap. It's almost as good. Captain Floon Deluxe, ISS Butterfish. Artifacts. Artifacts are held in the ship's hold as normal cargo. You can view your artifacts by selecting the cargo, etc., and we'll get to that as we get more artifacts. Star reports. I dreamed that I was in a B-class star system far away from any others. The Humna Humna sold me an encounter scanner, an artifact that projects all the potential encounters in the vicinity onto your star map. Of course, I also dreamed that there were a Spemin in my hold, playing on a trampoline, and that starport was made out of jello. Take it for what it's worth. Captain Fioria, ISS Angiosperm. So that is actually very relevant. We do want to eventually get that. So that is a clue. So we need to look for an isolated B-class star system where we can buy that from the Humna Humna. For now, though, that is neither here nor there. So we've got fuel usage, energy usage chart. That's fine. Spectral chart for the planet, for the stars and planets. So the star spectral marking is Red is M, coolest. Orange is K. Yellow is G. White is F. Green is A. Light blue is B, so we want to look for a light blue, because that is Class B. And dark blue is O, the hottest. Planet surface chart. EGA and VGA only, that's fine. Red is molten. Brown is rock. Blue is ocean. White is frozen. And violet is gas giant. So we're much more likely to find blue or brown worlds that can be colonized. The others, not so much. All right, and then we have mineral prices. Cobalt, molybdenum, aluminum, titanium, and promethium are all repair minerals. But as you can see, even rhodium doesn't sell for that much, 440. It seems good, but we'll see that there's much better prices later. Standard trade good value chart, again, similar to the minerals, although much easier to sell them. And then we have a life form catalog. And these are in order of their value. So potberry plant is 400 total. So, like, even that. And then the second number, like sticky fruit, 800 total, 400 per meter cubed. So that means that when you get one, it's going to take up 2 cubic meters in your hold. So you do want to look at that second number. That is more important. Like the hill rat, that is quite valuable at 1,000. Whereas the potberry plant, or actually the rocket melon, 200 meters, 200 per cubic meter. You know, that you're only looking at like magnesium. But you can see that the plants, like 400, 600, 700, already you're higher than these minerals in the most of these standard trade good values. So, and these are just the lowest. However, some of them are dangerous. So we do need to keep that in mind. We've got potberry plant, plant bird, sticky fruit, hive plant, rocket melons, red puffwort, scaly blue hopper, hill rat, pulsating gummy, spinning crab, vacuum slug, hot fungus, black acid squirter, humanoid hopper, psychic blaster, oily spore bush, parachute spider, wandering chandelier, breathing cactus, nidberry bush, wheel snake, glowing spinner, green balloon, poison glider, crystal sponge plant, expanding hippo, fir tree, electric balloon. We have encountered those, so you can tell that they're quite valuable. They do have some danger to them. Single leaf, so again, they take up a lot of space, so they're not actually all that valuable. Yellow hugger, running fungus, gray anemone, green blob, funnel tree, sandpit stalk, eight-legged rhino. We're getting some definite danger marks here. Purple screecher, peacock tree, stinging cone, brass harpooner, which is very, very dangerous, and then the humming stone at the end. Alright. But before we wrap up this episode, we do have the map that comes with the game, and you can see that there are crosses on some of these worlds. Now, I thought we went into this red one, but we may have gone into this yellow one. And I'll have to double check. But we're right around here at the start. Do you have my mouse cursor? Yes. But you can see that there are a bunch of others. There are also unlisted. Like, we have this one in just inside the Cloud Nebula. We have this one inside a nebula. We have this one inside a nebula that we know about. There are others in some of these nebulas, but they don't have the inhabited races. But there are trade routes, like, you know, someone here might want something from here. Like, we'd go buy something here, sell it here, and then buy something from them, come up here, and then sell it to them, and they have something that they'll want over here. So there are some trade routes like that we can do. But that will definitely, you know, we'll have to discover those. But here is the current, you know, the current map of the area that we are in. And as I said, we are starting right around here. And this is the trade routes of the Cloud Nebula because we have this gigantic gigantic nebula here. But with the next episode, we are going to get some trading done and really get going on, hopefully training up our people. That's what I want to do first. Train them up, and then start upgrading our ship. And we're probably going to stay... It's relatively safe around here. This nebula is very dangerous. And try to, like, you know, inch out as we, as we go. As we can see, there is a inhabited world down here. There's one down here, one over here, one up here, one just in the edge here, one over here, two here, some up here. So there's some good opportunities in these areas, but we're also going to have to take notes. Anyway, with this bonus manual reading taken care of, we'll be back with the next episode as we get some trading done. See you then, everyone.